It was 1932. The Australian military went to war, but not against a country, not against an army. Their enemy? Flightless birds, emus. What happened next shocked the world because somehow they lost. How did a nation that had just fought in World War I end up losing a war to birds? Because long before the emus had arrived, another enemy had already brought the country to its knees. The Great Depression had hit hard. Wheat prices had crashed, and farmers across Australia stopped growing crops. It simply wasn't worth it. Then the Australian government stepped in with a promise: grow wheat again and we'll buy it at a higher price. Desperate but hopeful, the farmers agreed. But when the wheat finally grew, the Australian government didn't keep its promise. Instead of the agreed higher price, they offered much less. Furious and betrayed, the farmers refused to harvest their crops. In response, the government began pressuring, almost blackmailing them to cut the wheat before it spoiled. The farmers feared fist might destroy everything. But what was coming next was far worse than any bug. Nearly 20,000 emus stormed into the farmlands, moving like a relentless wave. They would destroy one field and then march straight into the next. Within minutes, acres of crops were reduced to nothing. Desperate and overwhelmed, the farmers reported it to the government, and this time the government responded. They didn't send help, they sent the military. The military received reports that emus had been spotted near a village. They rushed to the location, ready for action. Soon they saw them. Without hesitation, they opened fire with machine guns. But when the dust settled, only 5 to 6 emus had been killed. For the Australian military, it was a humiliating disappointment. Then they changed their strategy. This time, the soldiers hid in the fields, waiting in silence. The plan was simple: let the emus come close and then open fire. Soon, over 1,000 emus stormed into the fields. The soldiers waited, watched, and when the birds were within range, they pulled the trigger. But suddenly, the machine gun jammed and chaos broke. By the time they regained control, only 12 emus had been killed. What they observed next shocked them even more. Even after being hit once or twice, they didn't stop. They kept running. To the soldiers, it didn't feel like they were fighting birds. It felt like they were fighting tanks on legs. The soldiers changed their strategy. This time, they decided to mount a machine gun on a truck. The plan was simple: drive quickly toward the emus and fire at a close range. But once again, things didn't go as planned. Firing at a fast-moving target from a bouncing truck proved nearly impossible. The aim was unstable, the timing was off, and the emus scattered too quickly. In a chaotic moment, a running emu got tangled in the steering mechanism. The vehicle veered off course and crashed into a tree. In the end, the soldiers managed to kill 1,000 emus, but at a staggering cost of 10,000 bullets. The operation was proved too expensive and ineffective, so the Australian government decided to call it off. In a strange twist, it felt like the emus had won the war. But the story didn't end there. The government then changed its approach. Instead of using the military, they handed out weapons to local farmers and introduced a bounty system, paying for every emu killed. At first, it seemed to work. In a short time, over 57,000 bounties were claimed. However, the mass killing soon sparked concerns. Animal rights groups began to intervene, raising ethical questions about the scale of slaughter. Under growing pressure, Australia eventually put a stop to the bounty system as well. Today, Australia is home to 600,000 to 700,000 emus. But instead of fighting them with guns, farmers had found a smarter solution. Now they use strong fencing system to protect their crops. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.